horror fans, once again it is me, the Horror Miser Monty G. It's time for me to finally review a video game on this channel. That's because the Resident Evil 3 remake came out this week, and without much left to do while we're in this social distance, I went on ahead, bought the game and played it. Took a while for me to get it through, and now it's time for me to review my first video game on this channel, the Resident Evil 3 remake. Yes. Now, this game was published and developed by Capcom Video Game Systems. It is a remake of the 1999 video game Resident Evil 3. This was made for Microsoft Windows, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One systems. Now, the basic plot, for those of you who have been living in a cave for all this time, Stardust officers Jill Valentine and Umbrella Soldier Carlos Valera are trying to escape the zombie infection of Raccoon City, are hunted by an intelligent bioweapon only known as Nemesis Stars. I had to say it, sorry. Now, before I go over my good points and bad points of the game, I want to give overall thoughts of the game. I really did enjoy the game. We have some vast improvements, basically coming from the Resident Evil 2 remake game. Mostly all the elements are the same as far as how the game looks, how it plays. It's all similar to the Resident Evil 2 remake, basically using the RE engine that was used in Resident Evil 7. So we have that in 2 remake, and now we have in the 3 remake. I love the action. I love the suspense the game have. I love the new things that they included in this game, all basically coming from Resident Evil 2. There are some aspects of the game that I did not like, and I'll talk about that later in my bad points. Obviously, you see some callbacks from the Resident Evil 2 remake. You also see some callbacks from the Resident Evil game original, which I thought that was fantastic. There's a scene where Gio encounters this dude that we saw in the beginning of the original game, and the dude just simply locks himself up in a truck. I thought that was a decent callback to the game. There are other callbacks from the original game as well, but overall I did enjoy the game, but like I said, there are some bad points of the game I did not like, and I'll talk about that later. Now, as far as the good points of the game, like I said it before, using the RE engine and taking elements from the Resident Evil 2 remake, we do have an excellent remake from one of the best games in the RE series. Now, most people consider Resident Evil 4 the best part, one of the best games in this series. And for me, it's kind of a tie when it comes to Resident Evil between 4 and 3. But if anything else, I always thought that 2 was the best one, and then maybe comes 4 and 3. But this is still one of the best games in the series, and I really enjoyed what they did for the Resident Evil 3 remake. One of the things I really did enjoy are the characters, mainly Jill and Carlos. They're more fleshed out here, and the voice acting is top notch. Carlos here is more of a caring soldier in this one, and not the heartthrob he was in the original. So I truly do like the improvements they definitely made with Carlos. He's more of a caring guy. Yeah, he's going to follow orders because he's a mercenary. He's a soldier, but here he's more caring in this one here. He and Jill have obviously a little banter back and forth, but they eventually get along very well, and I like that aspect of their relationship. Now, obviously, Jill is definitely an improvement here, and I do mean, and she is put to the ringer in this game, and there's no doubt about it. She gets her ass kicked a lot in this game. That's because she's tough, and she can take it as much as she can dish it out, too, and I really love the improvements of Jill here. And that mainly goes to voice actor Nicole Tompkins, who's the voice actor for Jill. She gives Jill a very tough exterior while also giving some old school gamers like myself callbacks to Catherine Disher, who was the original voice for Jill in the original games. So I really thought of the improvements. I like the voice acting that Nicole Tompkins does, and I like all the improvements they did for Jill. She's a no-nonsense person, this one right here. Now, as far as the overall game, this is more like a theatrical movie, as the game is more linear with little backtracking like the Resident Evil 2 remake had. You had more backtracking in that game, but here there's really not that much backtracking that you have to do here. Everything is straightforward, and depending on how the player decides to pick up certain items, you will have to spend one time in certain areas. Now, depending upon how you play the game and how you pick up items, you might have to do some backtracking, especially when you take over as Carlos. I would say, especially in the Spencer Memorial Hospital, you definitely have to do some backtracking as well. but not as much as Resident Evil 2, and there are reasons for that. But like I said, this is more of a linear style of gameplay. The zombies! Yes, the zombies! Like in the Resident Evil 2 remake, they could be a threat unless you know how to dodge them, or dodge them. Now, unlike in the Resident Evil 2, sometimes in order to conserve ammo, you had to shoot the zombies in their foot and their leg to incapacitate them. Now you can easily dodge them, or if you know how to dodge um, zombies in Resident Evil 2. But in this version, Jill has a dodge move similar to the original one where you can dodge zombies. In this one, it's a skill that you definitely need to learn, especially during the game's Nightmare and Inferno modes, because those zombies in those modes, whoo boy, they could really get you because they have a tendency to lunge twice. Speaking of the modes, like in Resident Evil 2 where it had assisted, standard, and hardcore modes, Resident Evil 3 Remake has two additional modes, Nightmare and Inferno, which become available or you can unlock them after beating the game in hardcore mode. Now, I have not played the Nightmare or Inferno scenarios or the modes in this one. From what I understand, the Nightmare mode and especially Inferno mode, ooh boy, you definitely have to make sure you know how to use that dodge feature, and definitely in Inferno mode, because you can, a zombie can kill you, I think, in 2 or 3 bites. Now, I love the new design in the hunters in this game, but I simply love the new monster that they put in this game, the Hunter Gamers. Yes, we still have the Drain, I think it's the Brain Demos. I love the new design of that one, but this new monster that you're encountering soon is called the Hunter Gamers. I love them. I love the design. Now, while you can kill them easily with flame rounds, these creatures can also one-hit kill Jill if you're not careful. If you don't back up enough while you're trying to shoot them, they can swallow a whole. There's no doubt about it. Because when they attack or open their mouths, they have these mandible things, like I believe like the zombies or the Majani, the Majani in Resident Evil 5. They have these mandibles that open up, and these Hunter Gambles have something similar to that, where if Jill doesn't back up far enough, they can swallow you whole. So you have to be careful about that one. Yes, you can kill them easily, but you better back up and have yourself some room. Now comes Nemesis. Yes, the main character or the main antagonist in this game. And I love his new design. He's simply more powerful, more of a badass in this film. I like how they have him almost similar to how they had Doomsday in Superman, where he had his head wrapped up and you really can't see his face. But eventually, once he encounters Carlos, that gets lost. And he's definitely tough in this game like he was in the original. And he is definitely like he was in the original. Especially when he's aided by his weapons. Even when he roars, Jill is affected by it. Because when he roars, if Jill is close enough, she will not be able to move because it roars. Now, I don't know if she takes any damage, because I was far enough when I was playing this game, but she can't move when he roars if she's not far away enough. I love when he mutates throughout the game. It's like, unlike in the original game, he doesn't mutate until after you get to the clock tower. But in this one, once he leaves the sewer, he starts to mutate, and he continues to mutate throughout the game. Unlike the encounters with Mr. X, because that's how they based him off of in the Resident Evil 2 remake, shooting Nemesis is useless. Your best bet is to simply learn to dodge and just move away from him, especially during the beginning of the game, because nothing affects him. There are ways you can harm Nemesis if you know where to shoot at without shooting him. Some people, if you shoot, there are some weak spots. There are some weak spots. His heart is a weak spot. If you can shoot that long enough, I would say with the shotgun, he will go down, because he does drop boxes in this game like he did in the original. But your best bet in order to conserve ammo, because I think only the first box gives you something good. The other two are just more ammo for you to have. So your best bet is simply learn to dodge and just run away from Nemesis, because your first encounter with Nemesis, you're not going to have the firepower in order to weaken him unless you shoot around the environments, because there are places where you can shoot him. And that's basically all the good points I have. There's other stuff that I'll talk about, especially because of Nemesis, when I say bad points about the game. Now, one of the bad points I have with Nemesis is her encounters with Jill, which is good in the beginning of the game, but after Jill escapes the sewers, her encounters with the creature are simply only boss fights. There is another encounter when Nemesis, after the first boss fight, when he gets his rocket launcher, but I don't really call that an encounter, because all it is, you're just simply running away from him because, you know, you gotta run. He's got a rocket launcher, but that's only for about a good 5 minutes. After that, it's just boss fights. Unlike in the original game where we had several encounters with Nemesis throughout the entire game, here I would say probably while you get to the second part of the game, that's it. You have no encounters with Nemesis other than boss fights. Another problem is there are no puzzles to solve in this. What? No puzzles? No puzzles in a Resident Evil game? How is that possible? Well, the only thing I can think of is that this game went into development very quickly. So I guess the developers simply didn't have the time to include them in this game. Yes, there are no puzzles to solve in this game. Oh yeah, we do have the bobbleheads you have to find throughout the game, like they did in the original Resident Evil, or like they did in the Resident Evil 2 remake with the raccoons, the bobblehead of raccoons, and you have those there. But other than that, there are no puzzles to solve in this game. That's it. Not a none zippo. Also, unlike in the original game, there are no choices to be made. Like when Jill encounters Nemesis or other enemies or other situations where Jill has to make a choice and it takes her to a different path depending on what choice the player makes. No, there are no choices here. Like I said before, this game is straightforward. It's very linear. You don't have to go this way to get to that place, or you don't have to backtrack this place to get that place. Like I said, it's simply just one straight shot. The only time it might make a difference is in the Spence Memorial, because whatever actions Carlos does in his time in Spence Memorial will affect what happens with Jill when she wakes back up in the game. But other than that, there are no choices. There is nothing like that in the original. And I kind of was a bit disappointed because I thought that would make the game. That's what made Nemesis interesting, was those choices, and you don't have it here. Now, I don't know if you want to call this a bad point or not, but the game is very short. And I do mean short. It only took me about 5 hours of game playing time to beat it. Now, obviously, there is no second scenario in this game as opposed to the RE2 remake, but that was to be expected. But we expect this game to be a bit longer. And I haven't heard if there's going to be a mercenary DLC to play. Maybe down the line, if the developers have the time, they might create it, and I don't know if they're going to put it for free or not. The only real replay value is getting Jill's original costume, where I believe you can get it after you beat it, I think, the standard mode. I don't know if you have to get in a certain time, or if there's a way you can get an S rank. I haven't seen that yet. I'm pretty sure that once people play it more, we'll finally find ways to get the S rank, or if there's a speed run where you have to get a certain time period, like less than 2 hours or less than 2.5 hours, you get an S rank where you get unlimited weapons, or you get Jill's original costume, or you get different alternate costumes for Carlos as well. Or you can try your luck in the game's Nightmare or Inferno modes. That's really basically it. And I guess I don't know if people consider that a bad point, but for me, once you learn all the ins and outs of this game, it will take you very quickly to beat this game. And I don't know if that's going to be good enough for replay value. So, despite the lack of no puzzles or short replay value and Nemesis only being a boss towards the end of the game, I did enjoy playing this game. I mean, you get great callbacks. I love seeing Jill. Well, not as obviously good as Resident Evil 2 remake. This is still such a good remake for Resident Evil. And I truly enjoyed playing the game. And hopefully, I'm pretty sure you guys who love Resident Evil will play this game as well. Now, I haven't really come up with a ranking system when I play video games, because this is the first time I've done a video game review on this channel. But if I were to rank it, I would give this 4.5 out of my 5 lucky gold coins. Yes, 4.5 out of my 5 lucky gold coins because I really did enjoy this game. So, horror fans, have you played the Resident Evil 3 remake? What do you think about it? Did you enjoy playing the game? Was it too short? Did you enjoy your encounters with Nemesis? Leave your comments down in your comment section below and tell me what you thought about the Resident Evil 3 remake game. And so that's my video and review of Resident Evil 3. Hope you did enjoy it, and if you did, please like and share it. Also, if you're new here, please hit that subscriber button and ring that notification bell. That way you'll be notified anytime when I put up new videos such as this one. Also, all my social media links will be in the description box below as well. Once again, my name is Lamont Smith, better known as the Horror Miser Monty G, and always remember, horror rules. I'll see you in my next video. I'm out.
That was too close. You were almost a Jill sandwich.
You're right. Barry, thanks for saving my life.